Hi everyone, it's me, Tuxedo Mask, Evening Wear High, Darian here, and today we're going to talk about, you know, why a lot of folks in the Sailor Moon followership hate the Deke Sailor Moon. Well, hate might be too strong of a word for it, but it is what they do. They hate it because it's not a true telling, but it is more of a, shifted. They don't like the freedoms that Deke took with it when Deke had the rights to take the shifts that they did with it. First, they think the speaking playing or the show players who spoke for them. They don't think that's the way. They bitch, but they don't like it because they think that the show players don't speak the way they think the South should speak like. Now, give or take, that's their belief. But keep in mind that I don't know what these folks wanted. Did they want them speaking Dawnish English? You know, the way of English spoken in Dawnland by some folks? Is that what they wanted? Because that's not what they got. What they ended up getting was, 4-1 Rikers English and Settlelanders English is what they got. And that they weren't happy with that. You know? The skimming, the shifting, and the cleaning. They make a big deal about things being shifted or being cleaned. Why they make a big deal about it is beyond me. I don't know why they do. But sadly, they do. They sadly do make a big deal about it when they truly shouldn't be making a big deal about it. But at the end of the day, that's what they do. You know? They say it takes away from the fighting. They don't like it that the bloodspin was skimmed it out, or, folks being hit with some kind of weapons. They don't like it. They think the wrestling or fighting has been skimmed it, and they don't like that, and they say it takes away from the tale, but I don't think it does, but that's what they bitch about. Another thing they make a big deal about, what they should not, is names. They are unhappy that Deke, shifted out the Dawnish borrowed names for either Hivru, Hivruish, Hellenish, or Spanish, or Blacklandish names, or Latin/French names, which are mostly one and the same these days, borrowed names. And, and why they make a big deal about that is beyond me, but they do. They behave like that's a slight on them. But at the end of the day, it's not, but that's what they believe. Some of them also like to gatekeep folks who, like the Deke Sailor Moon. Some of them believe that you're not a true Sailor Moon follower if you like the Deke Sailor Moon, which is not true, but yeah, they're guilty of that as well. And they say that, it's not, and they also say, oh, but it's not what Nako Takaguchi or Takenshi wanted. Well, first off, at that time, Nako Takaguchi did not become the shifter head of Sailor Moon until years later, so she didn't have the kind of sway that she once had. And at the time, the Walt Disney business and Deke Lee did have the deal to do what they needed to do with the Deke Sailor Moon. So, before I end this film, they hate it because it's not a true telling. They bitch about the show playing, about names, borrowed names being shifted out for other borrowed names, how fighting or wrestling has been skimmed, how there's no blood. You know, things that they think that made Sailor Moon good. Well, in there, that's their belief, you know. But at the end of the day, I think they just make a big deal about things, about a offshoot of Sailor Moon, which is now about 31 years old or so. Alright, give this film a like, share it, playlist it, thumb it up, and I'll see you later.